The Desperate Alliance captain, Elena Vasquez, stood on the observation deck of Lunar Command, watching Earth turn slowly in the void. The blue marble looked peaceful from here, but appearances could be deceiving. After 30 years in the Terran Defense Force, she had learned that the most dangerous things often wore the gentlest faces. Her communicator buzzed with an urgent signal from the deep space monitoring station at Neptune. Captain, we have multiple contacts approaching from the outer system. Configuration unknown, but they're massive. Energy signatures suggest advanced propulsion systems. Elena activated the main display, showing the approaching fleet. 12 ships moved in formation toward the inner system, each one larger than anything in Earth's official fleet. Their design was elegant, almost crystalline, with flowing lines that suggested both beauty and deadly purpose. Analysis complete, reported Lieutenant Commander Singh from the sensor station. The vessels appear to be constructed from an unknown metallic composite. Power readings are off the charts, but we're detecting signs of damage and stress throughout their hulls. Before Elena could respond, her communications officer turned toward her with wide eyes. Captain, we're receiving a transmission. It's on a frequency we've never encountered before, but our translation protocols are working. They want to talk. Put them through, Elena ordered, settling into her command chair. The main screen flickered to life, revealing a face that was unmistakably alien yet hauntingly familiar. The being had pale blue skin stretched over sharp cheekbones, with large violet eyes that held depths of ancient wisdom and recent pain. Intricate silver markings decorated its forehead in patterns that seemed to shift in the light. I am Commander Thalon of the Corthoni Imperial Fleet, the alien said, his voice carrying harmonics that human ears found both beautiful and unsettling. We come to your system seeking sanctuary. Behind us follows an enemy so terrible that it has consumed entire star sectors. We do not wish to bring war to your world, but we have nowhere else to run. Elena studied the alien commander carefully. Intelligence reports from Deep Space Monitoring had prepared her for this moment, though the reality of first contact still sent chills down her spine. I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the Terran Defense Command. Welcome to the Sol System. Please explain your situation. Commander Thalon's expression grew darker. For 3,000 years, my people have fought against the Devourers. They are not truly alive as we understand life, but rather a collective of biomechanical entities that exist only to consume. They strip entire worlds of resources, converting matter into new ships for their endless swarm. We are the last of 12 Imperial fleets. The others have all been destroyed or absorbed. The transmission paused as Thalon seemed to gather himself. Our sensors indicate your civilization has achieved basic spaceflight. Your ships use chemical propulsion and primitive nuclear power sources. I realize this must be overwhelming, but we must warn you that the Devourers will arrive within days. They will show no mercy to any life they encounter. Elena nodded gravely, playing her role perfectly. We appreciate the warning, Commander Thalon. Our technology may be limited, but we won't abandon allies in need. What do you propose? Allow us to establish defensive positions in your outer system, Thalon replied. We will make our final stand here, buying time for your people to evacuate. In return, we ask only for basic supplies and perhaps some of your raw materials too. Repair our ships. Agreed, Elena said, without hesitation. We have mining operations throughout the system that can provide whatever you need. Our defensive fleet will coordinate with yours, though I fear our ships won't be much help against enemies that can destroy Imperial fleets. After the transmission ended, Alina walked to the secure communications panel that connected her directly to Admiral Marcus Chen at Deep Command beneath the Pacific Ocean. Admiral, Phase 1 is complete. The Corthini have taken the bait perfectly. They read our ships as primitive chemical rockets with basic nuclear power, just as the deception protocols intended. Admiral Chen's voice carried satisfaction despite the gravity of the situation. Excellent work, Captain. How long before the Devourers arrive? Intelligence estimates 2 days, possibly 3. The Corthani fleet is moving to establish defensive positions near Jupiter, exactly as we hoped. They'll use the gas giant's gravity well to anchor their battle line. Perfect. Begin Phase 2 immediately. All deep system assets are to maintain their disguises until further notice. The cargo haulers, mining platforms, research stations, everything must continue to appear primitive until the moment we reveal our true capabilities. Alina smiled grimly. The Corthini have no idea they're not the only ones who've been preparing for this fight. 50 years of intercepting galactic communications, analyzing every piece of alien technology that drifted into our space, studying the tactics of every major fleet battle in this sector. We know more about their war than they realize. Admiral Chen chuckled darkly. Both sides are about to learn that underestimating humanity is a fatal mistake. Continue the deception, Captain. Soon enough, our ancient enemies will discover what happens when they bring their war to our doorstep. Across the Sol system, human forces maintained their carefully crafted illusions. The massive cargo ship New Horizons continued its slow journey between Earth and Mars, its hull disguised with external tanks and primitive-looking radiation shielding. To alien sensors, it appeared to be a simple industrial vessel using basic reaction drives. In reality, it housed some of humanity's most advanced weapons and a crew trained specifically for deep space combat. Commander Sarah Park monitored the situation from mining platform Delta 7, orbiting in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. To outside observers, her facility appeared to be exactly what it claimed. A resource extraction operation pulling metals and ice from nearby asteroids. The massive processing equipment looked crude but functional, perfect for a species just beginning to industrialize their star system. The truth was far different. Delta 7 was one of 12 hidden weapons platforms scattered throughout the belt, each one capable of projecting firepower that could crack moons. The mining equipment could rotate to reveal gun barrels longer than most alien destroyers. Power cores that appeared to be simple fusion reactors actually drew energy from compressed space-time itself. Status report, Commander Park requested from her tactical officer. All systems green. The Corthini scouts passed within 50,000 kilometers yesterday and detected nothing unusual. Their sensors read us as a standard mining operation using primitive beam cutters and chemical explosives. They have no idea we're sitting on enough firepower to vaporize their entire fleet. Park nodded, watching the Corthini ships establishing their defensive formation near Jupiter. Good. Let them think we're harmless. When the Devourers arrive, both sides will be so focused on each other that they won't notice us until it's far too late. The deception extended to every corner of human space. Research Station Gamma, supposedly monitoring solar radiation between Earth and Venus, actually housed sensors capable of detecting ships at the edge of the galaxy. The Lunar City complex appeared to be a simple colonial settlement, but it's underground. Levels stretched deep into the moon's core, hiding construction facilities that had been building weapons of unimaginable power for decades. Most impressive of all was the orbital infrastructure around Earth itself. Hundreds of satellites created a network that looked like the typical communications and weather monitoring setup of a developing space civilization. In reality, they formed the most sophisticated defensive grid ever constructed, linked by quantum entanglement and capable of coordinating attacks across light years of space in real time. As the hours passed, more details of humanity's long preparation became clear. Every piece of debris from ancient galactic battles had been collected and studied. Every refugee ship that passed through human space had been quietly scanned and analyzed. Decades of patient intelligence gathering had given Earth's military planners a complete understanding of galactic warfare, technology, and politics. The Courtney established their command post on one of Jupiter's moons, extending shields and sensor arrays that turned the entire Jovian system into a fortress. Their ships were beautiful to watch, moving with grace that spoke of technologies humans were only beginning to understand. Plasma conduits pulsed along their hulls like arteries of light, and their weapons charged with energies that bent space around them. Commander Thalon reviewed tactical displays showing the approaching Devourer fleet. His intelligence officers estimated at least 40 bioships, each one a living creature the size of a small city. They moved through space like predators, their hulls pulsing with organic rhythms that suggested hunger and malevolent intelligence. "The humans have offered to support our defense," reported his tactical officer. Their fleet consists of approximately 200 vessels, mostly cargo and industrial ships. A few appear to be military, but their technology is centuries behind ours. Thalon studied the display showing human ship movements throughout the system. They looked so primitive, these metal boxes propelled by chemical rockets and powered by crude nuclear reactors. It was almost heartbreaking to think of such a young species caught in the crossfire of an ancient war. "Signal Admiral Chen," he ordered. "Inform the humans that they should withdraw their ships to the inner system. When the Devourers arrive, the outer system will become a battlefield. We cannot guarantee their safety." The response came quickly. "The Terran Defense Force appreciates Courtney concern, but we will stand with our allies. Our ships may be primitive, but our crews are brave. We won't abandon you to face this threat alone." Despite everything, Thalon felt a stirring of admiration for these young humans. Their technology might be limited, but their courage was remarkable. Perhaps there was something to be learned from species that faced impossible odds with such determination. What neither Thalon nor any of his officers realized was that at that very moment, deep beneath Earth's Pacific Ocean, Admiral Chen was putting the finishing touches on humanity's greatest deception. Soon, the ancient enemies would arrive and discover that their assumptions about primitive Earth were about to cost them everything. Asterisk. The Devourer swarm arrives. The first sign of the Devourer fleet's arrival was a distortion in space itself. Admiral Krenthok felt the familiar taste of pheromones through his ship's living neural network as reality bent around the approaching bioships. Each vessel was a creature bred specifically for war, grown in the spawning pools of dead worlds, and shaped by 3 millennia of constant conflict. His flagship, Consumption Eternal, stretched nearly 15 kilometers from its sensor horn clusters to its propulsion organs. The ship's hull pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that communicated with the rest of the swarm through chemical signals and electromagnetic bursts. To most species, the sight of a Devourer bioship was pure nightmare. Made manifest. Neural Link Status Report. Krenthok, commanded through the ship's consciousness interface. Swarm cohesion optimal, responded the collective intelligence that guided their fleet. 43 primary bioships, 12,000 parasite craft, biomass reserves sufficient for extended campaign. Local system analysis complete. Images flowed directly into Krenthok's mind, showing the Sol system in perfect detail. The third planet teemed with biological activity, its electromagnetic spectrum filled with the signals of a young technological civilization. Chemical rockets moved slowly between worlds, powered by primitive nuclear reactors and guided by radio communications. Assessment of local resistance, Krenthok inquired. Negligible. Indigenous species appears to have achieved basic spaceflight within the last 2 centuries. Technology level suggests easy integration into swarm biomass. Estimated resistance. Duration, less than 1 local day. Krenthok felt satisfaction flow through his merged consciousness. The Kortheni had led them to a perfect feeding ground. Not only would the swarm finally destroy their ancient enemies, but they would also harvest an entire fresh civilization to fuel their endless expansion. Initiate standard intimidation protocol, he ordered. Allow the primitives to witness our power before consumption begins. Fear makes absorption more efficient. 3 bioships detached from the main swarm and began moving toward the inner system. Each one was a work of art in its own terrible way, shaped by evolution and engineering into the perfect predator. Their hulls rippled with sensory organs that could taste electromagnetic radiation, detect chemical signatures across millions of kilometers, and analyze the molecular composition of potential prey. The lead bioship, Harvest Moon, approached the human mining operations in the asteroid belt. Its sensors detected exactly what the swarm expected: primitive industrial equipment, basic metal extraction processes, and crew quarters that suggested a species still dependent on fragile biological bodies for most tasks. Commander Sarah Park watched the approaching bioship from mining platform Delta 7's main observation deck. The creature was both magnificent and terrifying, its organic hull shifting through patterns of color that spoke of alien emotions and predatory intelligence. She could see weapon ports that looked like massive eyes and propulsion organs that pulsed with rhythms that suggested a beating heart. Unknown vessel, this is mining platform Delta 7 of the Terran Industrial Consortium. She broadcast on standard frequencies. Please identify yourself and state your intentions in this system. The response came as a psychic transmission that human receivers translated into spoken words, primitive biological entities. You have been selected for integration into the Devourer swarm. Resistance is futile. Surrender your technology and prepare for absorption into our collective consciousness. Commander Park exchanged glances with her tactical officer, Lieutenant Torres. Both women had trained for this moment for over a decade, knowing that their performance in the next few minutes would determine whether humanity's greatest deception succeeded or failed. Unknown vessel, you are in violation of Terran space sovereignty. Park replied calmly. Please withdraw immediately or we will be forced to take defensive action. The bioship Harvest Moon pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that could only be interpreted as amusement. Its commander Subadmiral Vorthak felt the collective consciousness sharing his entertainment at the primitive species' pathetic defiance. Witness the power of the swarm, he broadcast, extending weapon organs from his ship's hull. Your absorption begins now. The bioship fired a concentrated burst of plasma, designed to disable the mining platform's power systems while keeping the crew alive for processing. The beam struck what appeared to be the platform's main communication array, dead center. Exactly as intended. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the communication array began to rotate, revealing that what had looked like a simple radio dish was actually something far more sophisticated. The rotation continued until what had been hidden became visible, a weapon barrel that seemed to bend light around itself. Hostile fire detected, Commander Park announced over an open channel. Mining platform Delta 7 to all vessels in the system. We are under attack by unknown aggressors. Engaging defensive protocols. The hidden weapon fired once. The beam that emerged was invisible to most sensors, but its effects were immediate and absolute. The bioship Harvest Moon simply ceased to exist, converted to energy in a fraction of a second. Not even debris remained to mark where it had been. Sub-Admiral Vorthok's death scream echoed through the swarm's collective consciousness like a psychic shockwave. Every devourer felt his terror and confusion in the instant before his mind was torn apart by forces they couldn't comprehend. Impossible. Admiral Krenthok breathed through his ship's neural interface. What weapon was that? His intelligence organs scrambled to analyze sensor data from the attack, but the readings made no sense. The energy signature matched no known technology in their databases. The power levels required should have been beyond the capabilities of any civilization at this species' apparent development level. Commander Park opened a channel to the remaining Devourer scouts. This is Commander Sarah Park of the Terran Defense Force. You have fired upon a civilian mining operation in human space. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed. The two surviving bioships retreated quickly, their organic hulls trembling with shock and confusion. Through their neural link with the main swarm, Admiral Krenthok felt their terror and disbelief. Full system scan, he ordered. I want to know what we're really facing. The results were disturbing. The cargo ships moving through the system were accelerating at rates that should have liquefied any biological crew. The mining platforms, scattered throughout the asteroid belt, were showing power signatures that didn't match their apparent technology level. Most troubling of all, some of the space debris in the belt was moving in patterns that suggested artificial control. Meanwhile, Commander Thalon observed the encounter from his command post on Ganymede. His tactical officers were analyzing the human weapon's performance with expressions of growing amazement. Sir, preliminary analysis suggests the humans used some form of matter conversion technology, reported his science officer. The power requirements alone should be beyond any civilization at their apparent development level. Thalon studied the tactical displays with new eyes. If the humans could destroy a Devourer bioship with a single shot, perhaps they weren't as primitive as they appeared. Signal Admiral Chen, he ordered. I wish to discuss our defensive coordination in greater detail. The response came from Lunar Command within minutes. Captain Vasquez appeared on the screen, her expression calm despite having just witnessed the destruction of an alien warship. Commander Thalon, we're analyzing the weapon signature of the attacking vessel. Our mining platforms are equipped with industrial lasers for asteroid processing, but we've made some modifications given the current threat level. It was a reasonable explanation, but something in the human captain's tone suggested there was more to the story. Thalon's tactical instincts, honed by centuries of warfare, whispered that he was missing something important. Captain Vasquez, your defensive capabilities appear more advanced than our initial scans suggested. Would you be willing to share technical specifications so we can coordinate our efforts more effectively? Of course, Commander. We're transmitting data on our defensive installations now. As you can see, We've had to improvise quite a bit given the circumstances. The data package that arrived showed exactly what Thalon expected. Mining lasers retrofitted with military targeting systems, communication arrays modified for tactical coordination, and industrial power plants boosted beyond normal safety limits. It all looked perfectly reasonable for a primitive species trying to defend itself with whatever tools they had available. What the data didn't show was that every human facility in the system was carefully maintaining false energy signatures, broadcasting fake electromagnetic patterns, and using holographic projectors to hide their true nature. The mining platforms were actually weapons platforms that could crack moons. The cargo ships were advanced warships using technology decades ahead of anything in the Courtney arsenal. Even the communication satellites orbiting Earth were nodes in a defensive network that could coordinate attacks across interplanetary distances in real time. Admiral Chen monitored the situation from his command bunker deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. Around him, officers tracked every ship movement, every energy signature, every communication burst throughout the Sol system. Holographic displays showed the approaching Devourer swarm in perfect detail, including bioships that the aliens didn't know they could detect. Status report he requested from his intelligence officer. Both alien factions are maintaining their expected behavior patterns. The Courtney believe we're a primitive species with surprisingly effective improvised weapons. The Devourers are confused, but still assume we're an easy target once they deploy their full force. Admiral Chen nodded. Excellent. Begin Phase 3 preparations. All deep system assets are to prepare for full revelation, but maintain deception. Protocols until my direct order. Throughout the system, human forces made their final preparations. On Ceres, what appeared to be a simple colonial habitat opened. Hidden bays to reveal shipyards that had been constructing weapons for 50 years. The Antarctic research stations on Earth rotated their radio. Telescopes to reveal gun barrels that could fire across the solar system. Most impressive of all, sections of the moon itself began to split open, showing that large portions of the satellite had been converted into military installations decades ago. The trap was set. Both alien factions believed they understood the situation, ancient enemies meeting for a final battle above a primitive world that would soon be caught in the crossfire. Neither side suspected that the primitive world had been preparing for this encounter longer than either of their civilizations had existed, and that the real surprise was about to be unleashed upon them both. Admiral Krenthok prepared his swarm for the final assault, confident that the destruction of one scout ship was merely an anomaly. Commander Thalon positioned his remaining fleet for a desperate last stand, grateful for human support but certain that both their civilizations were doomed. Neither of them realized that they were about to discover why underestimating humanity was the last mistake many species ever made.